Hey guys, this is TJ934. Before I continue with this video, I would like to say that the content I'll be using allows, I'll be using it as fair use, and this is only for criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. So in today's topic, I would like to do a response video to Gunsblazing. He's a yugituber who plays a lot of Duel Links, and he has brought up an interesting discussion about today's meta with Duel Links and how it can be adapted to be better. Better in game logic, better in content, and better in today's game meta, where the game has a lot of unbalanced issues, and he does give a interesting critique and suggestions towards the developers of Duel Links. I also want to give my 2 cents on the matter, and to explain what my thoughts are of his video. So, without further ado, I'm gonna pause this part right here to transition to the video. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the video I'm going to be referencing is the state of Duel Links, Duel Links' biggest problem. This video is made by Gunsblazing, and he brings up an interesting issue. And let's read this content. The biggest problem. Duel Links has power creeped into a state where many cards and archetypes are too strong for the 4,000 life points, 20 card deck format. It has been this way for a while now, but only gets worse and worse with every box releases. I want to add the word releases because, one, it is true. I can agree that sometimes for every new box release, there's always going to be something that tops off another, and another, and another, and it could be quite, I guess, mind-fucking frustrating, basically. And the reason why I say mind-fucking frustrating, or frustration, is that I find it really unnecessary that they had to one-up the game's boxes, as if, oh, Hey Trunade is going to be the top card to use against cards that use a lot of set card face downs. Basically setting cards face down in the back row. This was a good idea, but that card, Hey Trunade, came inside the next box as a mini box for the Rampage Forest or Rampage of the Forest mini box that came after the water box, the Abyssal encounters. Now, with Abyss encounters or Abyssal encounters main box, it was pretty fucking OP. This is the first time I've seen one box change the entire meta overnight, where everyone's buying cards, stocking up on the best water attribute deck and cards to work with it. And the reason why is because the trap card, ultra rare trap card or super rare trap card, stealthy sea attack or sea stealthy attack, it was fucking beautifully constructed, but it was abusing the entire game. Because whenever there's a water monster in the field and you have Yumi plus the trap card, and you have water monsters on your side of the field, if your opponent attacks directly towards your monster that's a water attribute monster, the opponent's monster is getting killed. It gets destroyed automatically, but only gets affected once per turn. So that trap card triggers once per turn, but it's stupid good. Like, I can't explain how beautiful the main box is, but I feel it was beautifully abusive. I feel it was kind of out of place in today's meta, where, and as I have experience in the game, I've been with the game for a year now. I think I joined late February or January when I heard of it, and when I got to playing it, I thought it was beautiful that they actually brought back a game that people can enjoy and it's free to play. And you don't have to worry about having the best cards. You just have to outsmart your opponent. That was basically the idea. Critical thinking, game logic performance. Can you one-up your opponent or can you change the tables on them? Back then, the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, it was at its best very slow. It didn't have to be too fast, and you don't have to be that very fast to play. But as the coming months have happened, that's when they fucked up the entire meta with better cards and better strategies and one-upping one box after another. For example, they introduced the level monsters. That was cool. But it wasn't necessary though. But what they were trying to do is make the game move faster, make your plays faster before your opponent, and that's what ended up happening, such as power creeping. Now, as I saw the game progress, I was like, cool, I might get these cards. But as for me that plays free to play often, I feel that they could have slowed down, but also created a way to have diversity. Instead of putting like random ass cards all together that have like super strong consistency of populating your field or just becoming a hazard to your opponent or becoming a huge nuisance. Okay, they should have adjusted that. For example, and I am not guilty of, I also play Ojama monsters, such as the Ojama King, Ojama Knight, the whole deck. Ever since they introduced Chaz Princeton as a playable character for the GX world, I feel that Ojama's was OP as hell. And hold on. Sorry about that. The only way you can make it OP as hell is if you get your Fusion Sage. You get, what's it called? Your Fusion Sage, your substitute monsters, substitute for Ojamas, or just make sure you have a good hand to start off with at least 3 different Ojamas, plus Ojama King in your extra deck, a Fusion Polymerization card, and that's it. All you have to do is just stall your opponent and pray that your opponent does not destroy your face-up monster or try to overdo it or try to bounce it back to your hand or to the extra deck or to the main deck. So I can understand that Ojamas back then, I think afterwards, towards the end of the year or summer, it got more interesting, but a little bit unnecessarily a big jump to power creep. And I would play with Ojamas to annoy the other players and stuff, but I feel that Ojamas weren't such a problem. I feel that because I didn't get like Fusion Sage or other cards to boost up my deck to make it play fast, I feel it was kind of balanced and not to rely on Ojama King or Knight. I don't rely on them if I want to like close my opponent's field monster zones and just cripple them from summoning any more stronger monsters that requires tribute summoning or trying to one-up me. But I can and will agree that yes, Ojamas back then and probably to this day are just stupid good. Now, and that can make anyone become king of game status within a month or so. So after that, Ojamas, then we get aliens. Cyber Angels, Aliens, or Sylvans, SSAs, or stealth attack monster decks, or unique, strategy card decks that make it hard for players to jump into the game early or late in the game and trying to enjoy and stuff. And yes, you got your Ancient Gears, because ever since freaking Dr. Crowler events came in, fucking Crowler got steroids. He basically has you under his thumb. If he can last within 3 turns of the duel, you can summon your Ancient Gear ultimate golem into the field and just destroy your opponent easily. And ancient gears back then were kind of OP or super OP because you can play 4 copies of ancient gear castles. Why castles? And why do I say 4? Because in Duel Links, and if people have not paid attention, you can basically get 4 copies of the same card. And I'll tell you what cards you can get copies of. You can get 4 copies of Ancient Gear Castle. That's how fucking easy it is. You can get 4 copies of the same field spelled Yami. What else? Yami and some other card keys that don't have like multiples more than 2 or 3. But there were some cards in today's meta that people don't know of that there are cards you can have up to 4. And here's how. You can get 3 of the same thing. You can get 3 Yamis, 3 Ancient Gear Castles to your deck. And all you need is your character skill to happen to activate on your first turn or opponent's turn a Yami field spell, or in this case for Dr. Crowler's effect, you need to start off in your first turn activating a Ancient Gear Castle right ready on the dot, giving you a plus 200 or 300 for all Ancient Gear monsters on the field. Which is stupid good. Like, oh my god, dude. You can play 4 of them things. Like, not 3 of them things, 4 of them things. And I feel that with Duel Links, they need to readjust that logic where instead of having the ability to have 4 of any kind cards, because that shit's broken, you could basically have like 3 Yamis in your deck. 3 field spell Yamis to boost your demons or spellcaster monsters on the field, and decrease your fairy monsters on the field too. And then, if your opponent destroys your Yami, replace it. And he destroyed my lord. Sorry. He destroyed your second Yami. Replace it with your third one. Oh, you're running out of Yamis, but you have last one. Oh, he destroyed it. Oh, replace your third with your last Yami's field spell. It's the same thing with Ancient Gear Castle. You can use them up 4 times in a duel to get your summoning for your Ancient Gear monsters. That fucking simple. But it takes time to practice and to get those cards to play around to give you a power boost. You could basically have 3 Ancient Gear Castles to give a boost of 900 attack power towards your Ancient Gears. And I'm sorry if I messed up about the card logic. And I feel that is very fucking true. Now, to be sincere, I feel that they can change a lot of things. Duel Links can improve overnight, but they need to listen to the players and to listen to our commentary and suggestions to improve this. Yes, the developers of Konami decided to listen to us. They were able to give us surveys, but I think they're not listening to everything. I feel like they think, they have other priorities to deal with. Now, here's my suggestion, Konami, to develop this. And to finish up the criticism or teaching and stuff, on the video of this guy, Gunsblazing, I like your video. I agree with all your points, especially when it came down to talking about speed duels. I get it. The thing it's called speed duels format is that you gotta have to play fast, and that's what I noticed. And throughout the entire game and throughout the year is that you have to play fast. It don't matter if you suck at the game. You have to play fast, and this is what happens with me and my friends. We would always play, and through my videos, I realized that, dude, we fucking we need to play fast to defeat our opponents faster now. If you don't have a first turn good hand, then you're shit out of luck, you know? And everything decides, depending on the archetype you're dueling against, if you play this game, is that you either have a good hand to play with, or your opponent one ups, and like basically one ups you the entire game, and you have no choice but to forfeit or to lose by letting your opponent OTK you or just finish you off. And also, yeah, Duel Links needs to improve everything, like nerfing cards, increase monster zones, deck size, or the starting LP or life points, or and change how it's supposed to be friendly for all players. This is not friendly. This is basically Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG in real life in a nutshell, where you have a booster box that has some cards, and you better pray you have a decent build around them for certain new extra archetypes or nerfed monster archetypes. For example, Sylvans. Dude, all I see in people's decks are three mushroomos, three leaves or marsh leaves, and three rose lovers. Okay, now, why the rose lovers? So they can bring back a Giga Plant, or they can special summon from their hand level 5 or level 4 or any level arrow mages or sylvan monsters to the field, so that way they can gain draw power and they can freaking jump into the field. And also they have a card effect that allows you to regenerate or get back what you lost from excavation abilities by returning any sylvan monsters from your graveyard back to the deck and reshuffle. So that way you can excavate and excavate and excavate, and hopefully you can bring back your monster that does the regeneration ability by giving you back your monsters from your graveyard that are sylvan monsters back to the deck. It's stupid good. Okay, now something I wanted to add. Definitely, I super agree. I'm gonna leave a like on there. That the meta can evolve into a better status. The fact that Duel Links feels kind of dead, that it feels like no one's going to be played competitively anymore, because it's all about the money. You need money to play to be popular. You need money to be like fucking overpowered and shit, and to be top dog in the entire meta. In my case, I'm willing to invest a little bit of something, but only for like ultra rare cards or extra packs to add to my deck. That's the only thing I'm willing to do. I'm not willing to pay more money for gems and to buy Resta packs unless I was super loaded with cash. By all means, let me invest into Konami. But the way they have it, nah. I'm willing to invest my energy and my time to participate all the events, especially the level 50 Merrick event, where instead of me getting a new Winged Dragon Raw, I still get to have instead of getting an extra copy of Winged Dragon of Raw, I can still get the new skill after beating level 50 Merrick for the second time in this event, because beating him level 50 the first time was no cakewalk, but this time, oh, oh, you best believe he got roasted. Now, in other ideas is that I feel if they're going to be introducing like Synchro monsters, Link monsters, or Xyz monsters, I feel that they need to increase the field count for more monster zones. And especially Pendulum Summoning, which I wish they don't add that, because that's when Pendulum Summoning was super fucking broken. Now, if they added like Pendulum Summoning to this meta today, you'll be special summoning for days. It's the truth. You'll be special summoning any monsters, but that will have to be inside a pack for that. And to collect those rare or super rare or ultra rare pendant monsters, you need those so that way you could swarm the field like crazy. And so, what I mean is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, it's basically a replica of today's Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and OCG games. especially when it tries to do power creeping and bad adjustments to the game. Especially when it comes down to link summoning, when it came down to link summoning mechanics, okay, some decks got rendered useless, or some decks got rendered slowly, or but they can still play, or some they were just totally useless, or they have a way to work with, but you had to get accustomed to the new mechanics of the game, and you're gonna have to make more decision making development. Now, before they even add XCs, synchros, or whatever the fuck they feel like it, and let me tell you how it is. I really thought whenever Duel Links came out and about, I thought where we were gonna play, we were all gonna play, and I really thought we were all gonna play Link monsters because Link, come on, man, Duel Links, Duel Links, the Links is right there. I thought we were gonna play Link monsters right off the bat as a starter deck, but no. Every time you collect a new character, they have a weak ass monster deck start, but they include their boss monsters for the first time, or the best ultra cards. But when it came to like new monsters, new archetypes and stuff, that's when things get a little bit more annoying to deal with. Now, I don't think we're ready for Xyz monsters. I think what we really need in today's meta is to fix this clusterfuck of power creeping, to fix the field count, and to increase the hand size and life points. Okay, I agree that they originally have the meta for speed duels at a certain standard, but it doesn't help that we have different skills that basically force us to cheat, or lets us cheat by making like interesting plays, like, oh, my starting life points is like 5k or 6k, but I have to sacrifice one card or two cards to do it, or I get a free boost of 1,000 life points just to start with a duel. I mean, I feel that's kind of unnecessary. What'd be awesome though is that they did something very cool with each character's abilities surrounding a different archetype, or surrounding different attributes besides draw power. Now, I understand they included a shitload of draw power ability, such as for spells, traps, types, and attributes. I don't, and also having the ability to see the top of your deck, to trade cards from your hand as a free card trader, but only limited to two, and a dice roll for having to waste all your life points to get at least two cards from your deck to do so. I have certain problems with that, but they can help certain aspects of planning ahead, which is technically cheating. So you can see top deck. As when it comes to like aroma strategy from and also you can see your opponent's hand with Pegasus a skill, or whatever they feel like it, or their face downs. I'm sorry, you can see their face downs. I feel that okay, is it Duel Links with a twist, or they're trying to make the game more weird and more unnecessary game mechanics that doesn't need to do that. I thought the game was about being fair and to think ahead of time and willing to risk the stakes of, can you do a certain action without having to predict or see what's going to happen. For example, Sylvans, you can they have a special skill where you can return certain monsters back to the deck, and you can foretell what's going to be on the top or bottom of your deck, and you just have to make sure you don't fuck it up by altering everything at once. A good example is in real life TCG, Sylvans basically have an interesting deck engine where all it is excavating. Xyz monsters, they help you excavate to the number of 8 cards from your top deck, and you excavate them to do stupid special effects, like special summoning on the field, destroying cards on the field. Oh, you name it. Even returning cards back from the graveyard to your hand. That's how fucking awesome Sylvans were. But because he added certain cards to help the Sylvans become a interesting build, I was like, bro, we're not ready for this. And this is the same thing I said about Dark Worlds. Dark Worlds monsters, they were pretty fucking OP. You just needed to get like certain cards off the field from off the ground, and you basically have special summon your graph, or special summon your boss monster, and destroy their back row or front row. It was how good the entire game was for that meta back then. And I don't know if Dark Worlds is still competitive, but I think Dark Worlds can still be in the scene. It's just a matter of, can you do it? Can you make your plays? Can you and are willing to do something to make it happen? And I would think Sylvans would be top tier alongside with Dark Worlds, because at one point Dark Worlds were the shit. But now that Sylvans came around, Dark Worlds are much more slower than Sylvans would when it comes to discarding cards or excavating cards to the graveyard to get your graveyard effects to kick in. What else I wanted to add? I feel that they could have added a new function to the game, such as trading cards to one another. Now, here's my thought process. I feel that this is Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought this was a trading card game as well, but no. I want to have an option and the ability for all players to trade cards with each other. Now, here's my thoughts on how they could do this. I don't want something to be like Pokemon, and if those of y'all who don't know about Pokemon, back in recent generations, they would have like a special trading program where you can trade in any Pokemon and hope to get a special card from that event. Or, I'm sorry, a special monster from your trades to replace the one you lost. Now, what they fucked up in is that the entire trading thing was filled with weak-ass monsters like Bidoof. Why would you trade in a Bidoof for a random card, or I'm sorry, random monster to your game? And I feel that they fucked up about that. That's how I strongly feel. I would feel more crossed about the fact that if Duel Links does do a trading option, and they program it to make it very similar to Pokemon, how you can just drop in a random dead card, and you expect to get a dead card or badass card from your trade that you locked in. Nah, that's just stupid. I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you just drop in your dead cards, hoping to get a super rare or special card. Now, I would think this will be another solution. We allow players to talk to each other. Give us a messaging program to allow us to talk to any other players. Leave them a message, so that way we can type in our talking to each other, or our text messages to each other. Let the other player know, like, hey, I want to trade this card for that card. Oh, let me trade in your Shard of Greed because I never got it from the first pack. I don't have enough gems or something like that. And you talk it out to each other. Now, the best way to do this is player drops in a card. Okay, I'll drop this card for a trade for your this card. And the player has to agree and must have the card in their deck or their card collection to be able to trade. If they do, that's it. Now, it should be fair because one, we can't just hack the game to where we replace this said card and it turns out to be something else that the other player interactions wanted to have a specific card, and it turns out not to be the one they wanted. For example, say I want Blue Eyes, and my opponent wants Dark Magician. I want to trade my Blue Eyes for his Dark Magician for my deck build, just for shits and giggles. And this is just a random example. And so maybe the other dude doesn't have the Dark Magician. Maybe he has Dark Magician Girl or Dark Magician Rod. All you needed was another Dark Magician. You just need something for a replacement for something else. And you're now willing to play with Blue Eyes. That's fine. But what if they give you a wrong card for it and it turns out, oh, you don't have that card? So the way to fix it is, if player does agree that they have this card, then the game should read their card collection, see if they have a specific card that they have available to trade. If they don't, they should return a message saying that, hey, this player doesn't have this card, player cannot make this trade. Or the player has a response that they do have the card, but they can disagree. Okay, I have the card, but I'm not willing to trade for that card. That's where I feel that it would be more balanced and is controlled of what's going on. So that way, the game needs to be able to read hacks. Like if someone tries to enter their card collection information, and they say they have that card, and it turns out to be an error card or a messed up card information or data, then the player should get back the card they lost, plus the opponent, the user that had that corrupted card data should be banned for a certain time, or should have a warning put off on them that, hey, this player attempted to cheat by trading in a card they don't have, by creating their own card data in their own profile. And that's why I feel they should start doing that eventually for card trading one another. And this helps out both players and for every player. I really want to finish my collection of all my cards to collect in the game. So that way everyone can pitch in to, hey, I want to trade this card for this card. I really don't need it, but I want to trade you back this card because I just want to add it to collection as if I had it, and I just want to complete my encyclopedia of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Is that cool with you? That's where trading can be done a little bit faster, and we can end the cycle of, oh, we had to collect all the cards in the game. I think it'll be easier if we just like trade cards for one another and to complete our encyclopedia, and whenever we get the chance to collect it in our own time from previous characters, previous rewards, we'll be okay because we don't have to have all the cards available, but at least we complete the encyclopedia. So this is where it's kind of like Pokemon, where you had to complete the Pokedex, but in this case, we should have at least some updates on that. Moving on from here, I want to talk about the reward system and including this dual assessment. I want to have updates to where we can get higher scores that include summoning all or using up all back row and front row scores, because this dual assessment system is basically a reference to the Tag Force games and previous Yu-Gi-Oh card simulation games that do have a dual assessment portion towards it. Whenever you win whenever you have a post duel results, they included like you finished your life points this much, you didn't run out this much cards, you OTK'd your opponent within 4 turns. Fast duels, summoning raw or summoning special monsters. You fusion summon, you tribute summon, you normal summon this many monsters, you destroyed this many monsters on the field, blah blah blah, activate spell cards. Basically the gist of it, the previous generations of dual assessment score systems should have to now, for our Duel Links, we should have a score to be able to, whenever we finish our back row and front row, like say we used up our field spell and trap card zones, we should get a score for that. And also we should get a score for every time we fill in our front row monster zones. We should have a score for that too. At least 1,000. That's not asking too much, or at least 500. So that way we can jump up the assessment scores a little bit faster, and this gives us a higher chances of getting more cars to show up as our loot. I'm gonna be honest, 6,000 score points or 4,000 score points ain't shit. I'm sorry, it ain't shit. I've seen better. Hell, I'd rather see more things happening where we can use a lot of stuff. And add more special score conditions, like you didn't use monsters to defeat your opponent, like burn damage, or use card effects, but you still didn't use monsters on the field to attack your opponent directly. What else? You're forced the opponent to deck out. They already have that. I'm sorry, the decking out part. What else? Burn damage. You only use trap cards to win the duel. All that kind of stuff. Special random conditions that players somehow unlock themselves and get those score points anytime they want to redo it again. That's how I feel that they should change the dual assessment system. Also, the random generation reward card system. We should be able to get a lot of these ultra rare cards and super rare cards more often, just as our rare cards. And also balance out the entire system. We should be, I don't know how I can say this even better, but I would like to see more dual assessment points to give us the chances of collecting any random cards from the loot against different legendary characters or anything like that, even special bosses or special event characters. Rewards when it comes to special events that require you to roll dice or to collect coins to distribute for newer cards. We should have a better chances of collecting ultra, super rare, and all kinds of cards and gems and other rewards to give us the ability to make it better for ourselves to play, and we can accumulate over time. What else? More events, especially, and giving us more rewards like gems. Like, we need gems to collect all these cards instead of just depending on us as players to invest in the game like crazy. They should invest in us, the gems, so we can have like a balanced economy of like, okay, you want us to play more? Give us a shitload of cards to do, and we can make more combos of. The next topic is about. I'm sorry. The next topic is about nerfing the game. Now, here's my thoughts in theory, and it's possible to do this. Now, hear me out. Nerfing the game's cards. I feel that the ban list can be applied only, and it should only be applied towards the ranking system and any games that require you to play with other players or challenge other players' decks, especially with random AI event duels, such as the previous one we had, the Gladiator Island, where anybody can play a random deck or a random build or any consistent build to duel against each other for more rewards. Now, I feel that we should have a ban list for the ranking systems or tournament systems or special events that require players to challenge each other of their based on AIs or random situations like that. But it should not be applied towards like the Merrick decks, or I'm sorry, the Merrick events. The Super Taya, Super Joey, basically nothing have to do with like special character events, you know? And also, the reason why is that way we can play our best cards against the AIs outside those events to collect more cards and to be able to make our best plays. But at least we get to play our non-nerfed cards outside these ranking systems and outside certain events and certain events that require players to use their own decks for AIs to use randomly. That way, we can play all the cards that are broken as hell, so we can play against the AIs, and we can play for our enjoyment. We don't have to be worried about limitations. But when it comes to competitive mode, when it comes to different modes of play that requires different players to duel each other, that's when hands down the ban list should be played and be applied to towards the ranking system and systems that require different players a different player decks to be played in a certain fashion or a certain method. Now, I think it's fair because at least you could play your most broken cards outside these events. And once it comes down to the ban list, this allows players to think off of their head, thinking, okay, I know these cards limited. This makes the interactiveness or the interactive ability for the players to think a lot more. Okay, if certain cards are too broken or too OP, it's time to adjust the deck. So I'm no longer playing my OP deck that I'm using against AIs, but I'm going to be playing in rankings and certain cards will not be available for me. What can I do to make my deck competitive and be able to stand on its own and to climb up? Also, my other thoughts is this. I feel that the ranking systems can be adjusted again, where instead of having us be predetermined of whether we should well, basically that predetermined are winning and losing streaks. When, for example, whenever I go through a ranking duel, I don't like the fact that if I don't have the what's it called, prediction of, oh, you must win the duel to level up. Oh, you get the chance to level up when you win the duel. Or if you lose this duel, you'll go lower the ranking. I feel that's unnecessary. I feel that what we can do is make it similar to other RPG games that the only way you scale up is that you beat the shit out of your opponent's team, or in this case, you can defeat your opponent's deck and scale up the ladder. Kind of like how we did with, very similar to our real life gaming systems that are free to play, such as Dueling Network, or other sites like DevPro or Yu-Gi-Oh! DevPro, where you scale up the ladder, and the more you get higher, the more you have the chances of becoming a king of game status without having to rely on a RNG random predetermined program to let you know that, oh, if you win the duel you'll level up. Oh, if you lose the duel you'll degrade. I don't like that. I think the best solution is let other players win and lose, and if they lose their space in the ranking. And they should give us a ranking system of who's the best in the game, and as you scale up, the more you win, the more you get the chance of getting a status for King of Games. Like, for example, if it requires you like 100 duels to get Game of Game status, then I guess almost anybody can get King of Game status to get that. This way, we get more rewards, and we get to play with a lot more rewards that come into that. And I really, just saying this, but I really dislike the predetermined RNG program that, oh, it predetermines if you win. It doesn't predetermine you win, but it predetermines your causes of losing and winning. For example, say if I'm going against Gunsblazing as an example in the ranking, and we both have an option of either one, we duel but we don't lose or win anything, or we duel but he gets a chance to win So he gets a chance to level up if he wins, and I get the chance to degrade if I lose. And so that makes it very hard to get to higher rankings. I just feel the ranking system is kind of bullshit at the same time. And I don't think it's gonna help the balancing, but I understand if they want to make it very harsh for players to get to King of Game status. But it doesn't hurt changing the ranking system where it's more friendly to players and nerfing that system down to where it's like easier for us to get King of Game status. It'll be fun to do that. But I understand that they may have to adjust the number of wins ratio and the reward systems for getting special tickets or special rewards for certain cases. And yeah, that's the gist of it. And what else? I feel that Yu-Gi-Oh! If they keep in Duel Links, if they keep up with this power creeping shit, the game is not going to be enjoyable for everybody to play. It's just going to be a pain in the ass. Also, they need to add more supports for certain archetypes or at least certain types. Like, I get it, they have more love towards dragons, heroes, aliens, and other archetypes, but where's the love for spellcasters? Okay, maybe that's the wrong idea of saying it, but we should have more support that's really well balanced. Because one, we need support cards that help certain types, and to help us get more interaction levels up to where not every meta card has to be the best card to play in everything. We need something like that rogues the entire meta. We need something that clashes the meta to where we can just fuck shit up. And or something that balances out where we have less cards of the same kind. For example, when they nerfed the Red Eyes and Cyber Dragon certain cards of those, like the trap cards, Red Eyes Revival or something. That trap card was stupid good because you can play 2 to 3 Red Eyes Black Dragons and all you had to do just discard them. Especially something with your trap cards, you basically have a 24 beat stick. That's how fucking strong the meta was back then. Now go to Cyber Angels. Hell, I barely noticed about Alexis Rhodes having Cyber Angels, but now that one of their cards is nerfed, they even had to reduce the ritual spell cards again. I'm like, bruh, they barely got introduced, and they had to change that. Now, I agree to certain meta changes, or Banlist changes, such as the burning deck effects. People would come in the game with like freaking wood and sword bamboo combos to burn the hell out of their opponent. So I kind of agree that there are some changes that need to be made, and that I feel that it could be well adopted to make to make more players play more, and to make the game more interesting and fun to play. Now, the number one reason I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Links is that it was kind of cool, it was slow to play with, and I didn't have to worry about, getting the best cards too much, you know? But when it came to later generations of packs, now they're just basically fucking the entire entertainment up altogether. Now, without further ado, thanks for watching, and I want to say thank you, Gunsblazing, for bringing up this video of the state of Duel Links, that Duel Links may be dead. Now, I kind of agreed to him in this other point he brought up, that Duel Links is not dead. It can play dead all it wants, but if it continues the path of fucking itself over with power creeping cards, or in this case, topping one booster pack or box on top of another, it's on topping one card box after another does not help. Like, for example, I feel like we need more card destruction effects to blow up the entire field. So that way we can slow our opponent down. But it makes us more worried now that we have to play these super traps to do things. Or super card effects that blow up anything they want. Or what that we want. And instead of like, okay, screwing over one archetype because of how good they are. For example, if we had Dark Law to our Mask Hero meta, ooh, Dark Law will be slaying the fuck any card, because any card that goes to the graveyard, Dark Law will fuck it over. He'll be like, bye bitch, because that Dark Law is savage as hell. So when it comes down to Dark Law, it's like, okay, I'm glad they didn't add the Dark Law because that would mess up Sylvans. But then everyone will have to play Mask Heroes with Dark Law, you know? So it's like, bruh, that's unfair. But Dark Law is not something hard to get over. But at least we don't have freaking Yoga, or what's his name, Koga, where his like Mask Hero light ass, he basically gains a stack of 500 for every fucking monster you have on your side of the field. So you have like 3 of them things on your opponent's side. Special summon by replacing a Neos Alias or Sparkman or any elemental hero monster or hero monster in your field. You basically gave Koga 1500 attack power plus 25, I think. And it's stupid good. It basically becomes an easy beat stick of 4,000. So really, and don't get me started with Koga's effect, secondary effect, where if he gets attacked, he can banish one of his hero monsters or any hero monster in the graveyard to gain a plus power. Oh no, not plus power. A debuff of attack power towards the opponent's monster. So when it comes down to the damage calculation, too bad, your monster's attack power decreased. Koga would have been the next disruption wall. That's how simple that shit is. Koga would have been the next disruption wall and the next meta for people to play with all together. So I feel that meta today needs to be adapted, and I feel like they need to change everything. Make a better ban list, but also let the ban list be applied towards the ranking systems and systems that require with other players, but should not be applied or applicable towards players that play against AIs. Like, I'm gonna be real, I'd rather fuck over my AI opponent with the OP cards than having me to defeat my my real life opponent through Duel Links. I'd rather defeat the AI outside these special events with OP cards than doing it against my opponent, because I know hell that my opponent would like in return for me to play OP cards. And I like a challenge. I like diversity, but I don't like to play decks that play on their own. So this has been a good critique, and I want to say thank you for Gunsblazing for bringing up this topic. And I definitely like his what's it called? The discussion. I feel like I could add more input to this, but I think this is all I have in mind. And if you guys have any suggestions in my commentary, criticism, please let me know. Especially for you, Gunsblazing, I'm willing to hear your criticism and anyone else's. And thank you guys for watching. This is TJ934 signing out.